In this tutorial, we're going to learn what is prop drilling in React. I have this diagram. I hope this will help understanding what's going on. So let's assume you have this root level component, right? And in our Next.js application, that could be our page.tsx file, this file. So this is our main, like you can consider as the root level file, just to make everything like easy to understand. And then we have, let's say, a parent component, and that parent component has a child component, and that child component may have a grandchild component. So this is just a funny example, but you'll find more often that you have this kind of structure in React, uh, and three level down, it's kind of okay. I mean, but you can see components going down deep, and we don't want to pass props through regular way like we do in React, right? So what is a regular way? Let's see that. So let's assume that our data is being consumed here. So like we have our data present in the parent component. So in order to grant child component, we need to pass that data or that prop to child component. And in order to get from child to grandchild, we need to pass from child to grandchild. So this is the hierarchy from top to bottom. In React, you cannot push data from child to parent. You cannot do that. You can always push data from parent to child. And when I'm saying data, it's props. And we have talked a lot about props in our previous videos. If you're still not clear what props are, please go watch those videos. Okay, so now let's see some code, some easy code so that you can understand. So as I said, this is our root level. We don't have to do anything funny here. We have our parent component here, and see what we're doing. We're passing this grandchild component, and you'll be like, why we are passing here? Just giving example. Maybe you're fetching some API or some you're doing something here that you need this data here as well as in grandchild. So how would you do that? So here you have this parent component, and then you're passing prop that grandchild equal to John. It's a string, right? Now let's see what is parent component. Parent component is basically nothing. It just rendering the child component, and we are passing that to child component. When you open child component, you see we're doing the same thing. We have our grandchild component, and in the grandchild component, we have this text, hello grandchild, hello, whatever the name, and I'm the grandchild. So that's what you will see here, that you have uh, grandchild here. So that was the gist of prop drilling. And you'll be wondering why so many level deep. And I think we probably have more examples as we progress through the tutorial. But if we have a lot of nested component, a lot of prop drilling going on, then what we do, we use something called, there's a hook called context API. Use context you can use, and we're going to talk more about that in future tutorials. I just want to give you the brief introduction, like what is prop drilling, and if someone asks you in an interview, you don't know like what is prop drilling. So this is what prop drilling. You're passing component deep from parent to child. Yeah, and we usually try to avoid that because see, child may not need to have that data, right? And that can cause a lot of optimization and performance issues, because if anything changes here, then your grandchild component will again reload because the props changing here, right? We don't want to do that. So we can use a context API. So what it can do, it can have kind of, let's say, a can have, let's say, a root level object. So what it is, yes, okay. So what is happening here, instead of passing props like from here to here, from here to here, from here to here, what we can do, we can have like our one object which has all the props, just to give you example, and that root level can give you props whenever you need. You don't have to pass it on. This has everything. Now, this is kind of a central repository, uh, and this is the recommended way. If you have a lot of 2 or 3 level deep, it's fine, kind of fine. Sometimes you need to like abstract a lot of component. Let's say your component is getting bigger, then what do? You make it small and make that component, and then you pass it as child, which is fine. I'm not saying you always need to use React context, but this is what the recommended way is. And in the future tutorial, we are going to learn what and how we can use that. I wanted to make this tutorial just quick and easy to understand so that you know what the problem is here. Because if you're, let's say, you're adding grandchild has another child components, another child components, then it will be very hard for parent to pass data, and your app will just have so much code which can be we should be able to reuse, right? So this is why we will have something called context API, uh, which can help us getting things done easily.